Tidbits from TNT, Sunday morning the 4th of August 2024. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. TNT, Tishwash. U.S. Treasury takes control of Iraq's central bank to combat money laundering. Three informed sources close to the political and parliamentary decision-making process in Baghdad revealed extremely dangerous information confirming that the U.S. Treasury Department has taken a permanent headquarters in the Central Bank of Iraq building. They considered that this step came as a result of the great pressures on the Iraqi banking system with the aim of limiting money laundering and dollar smuggling. As the governor of the central bank was forced to allocate an entire floor for U.S. Treasury, the three sources confirmed that a team of American employees is working permanently at the Central Bank of Iraq as part of intensive efforts to ensure Iraq's commitment to international standards for combating money laundering and terrorist financing. The sources stressed that the Iraqi banking sector is suffering from increasing pressures exerted by the U.S. Treasury to prevent the smuggling of dollars to countries such as Iran, Russia and Syria, which are facing economic sanctions. One of the sources explained that the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq tried to resist these restrictions. But the American response was strict, as the Central Bank of Iraq was included among the institutions considered to support money laundering operations and failure to comply with sanctions. In previous reports, the U.S. Treasury imposed severe sanctions on several Iraqi banks, on charges of involvement in money laundering and dollar smuggling. The policy of the Central Bank of Iraq is characterized by randomness and the absence of a clear strategic plan to protect Iraq's money from smuggling, which prompted the U.S. Treasury to impose strict and direct control over the central bank and Iraqi banks. Iraqi banks are currently undergoing a rigorous evaluation process under the supervision of the U.S. Treasury Department, which includes monitoring all banking operations and money transfers. This situation reflects the great challenges facing the Iraqi banking system in light of the ongoing efforts to reform it and improve its image before the international community. On the other hand, Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani has repeatedly sought to ease these measures, trying to reach understandings with the American side. But there is strong resistance from Washington, which insists on correcting the course of the economic process and reforming the banking system in Iraq. Al-Sudani finds himself in a difficult position, as he must balance internal pressures and international demands. In a broader context, the current situation reflects the complexity of the relationship between Iraq and the United States in the financial and banking sphere. While Iraq seeks to preserve its sovereignty and the independence of its banking system, the United States continues to exert pressure to ensure that the Iraqi banking system is not used to finance illicit activities. Link. Tishwash. Legal violations in the work of the central bank prompt demands to replace its governor, Ali al-Awlaq. Today, Saturday, the economic expert, Abbas al-Bassel, stressed the necessity of replacing the governor of the Central Bank of Iraq, Ali Mohsen al-Awlaq, in light of the violations committed by the central bank against the constitution and the law. Al-Bassel told Al-Yarida, when al-Awlaq was brought in, the work of the corrupt whales among the politicians became active, as they invested in dollars and the private sector was terminated, while the central bank imposed unnatural complications by launching a campaign against simple shops and kiosks in the markets of Sharjah and Karada, and preventing the sale of electrical and food supplies and even clothing in dollars, and taking pledges from shop owners to prevent dealing in dollars, and punishing them in the event of a violation. In procedures that have no legal ceiling or a judge's decision, so the central bank violated the constitution and the law. Al-Bassel added, the dollar is currently on the rise, at a time when there is no official announcement by the central bank about the volume of remittances leaving the country, so Ali al-Awlaq must be replaced with a professional, non-partisan figure. Tishwash. Al-Fath. Foreign banks in Iraq do not have cash value. Today, Saturday, member of the Al-Fatah Alliance, Mahmoud al-Hayani, revealed the presence of large corruption files within the Iraqi banking business and the involvement of major figures, while confirming that foreign banks in Iraq do not have monetary value that benefits Iraq. Al-Hayani said in a statement to the Maluma agency. Foreign and Jordanian banks in particular do not have through which they can supply the Iraqi market funds with the monetary mass, and their presence inside Iraq does more harm than good. Noting that, the Central Bank of Iraq was unable to find solutions and did not rise to the level required. He continued, the reason for the entry of foreign banks into the country is due to American dictates exercised on the central bank in order to grant them licenses to operate in Iraq according to special privileges. Pointing out that, the Iraqi government needs support from the political forces and concerted efforts in order to distance the banking business from suspicion and corruption. The economic expert, Mustafa Akram Hantoush, had confirmed that the measure taken by the Central Bank of Iraq was to grant business licenses to Jordanian banks and operate in the country, indicating that it was the duty of the central bank to strengthen Iraqi banks instead of Jordanian ones. Repeated violations of sovereignty and the presence of the international coalition put Iraqi military leaders before two bitter choices. Academic Talib Muhammad commented on Wednesday on the repeated violation of national sovereignty with the escalation of demands to end the foreign military presence, especially the American one, in Iraq. He pointed out that Iraqi military leaders are confused between declaring readiness and bearing the consequences of that, or confirming the need for the international coalition and bearing various charges, which requires strengthening trust between the government, political forces and military leaders in order to reach a decision that they will be held accountable for before the Iraqi people and history. The breach of Iraqi national sovereignty has become a common occurrence, considering that the last strike in Babylon came as part of a series of multiple and qualitative strikes in Iraq. Therefore, Iraqi sovereignty is breached through hostile strikes, whether from neighboring countries or the Zionist entity. The Israeli strikes are linked to an Israeli approach to control and change the nature of the region, meaning imposing force and continuing these strikes until a new political path is achieved in the region. And this path is controlled by Israel and America, Muhammad told Al Yarida. He added, as for the Iraqi military position, after the victory over terrorist organizations, the last of which was ISIS, it sent a message that the military institution is capable of leading itself, but on the condition of completing the logistical and technical matters, military equipment, and security and military liaison with the international coalition. He continued, in light of the presence of political blocs that want to end the foreign military presence in Iraq, especially the American one, the decision in this regard should be issued after studying the situation and the social, popular, economic and political reality to give a mature decision that we will not regret in the future, which requires the Iraqi military leaders to study the situation, whether the Iraqi forces are ready and do not need other countries, and if they are capable, they should announce this to the Iraqi public opinion, and this issue depends on the Iraqi Council of Representatives. But the Iraqi military leaders are confused about this aspect, Muhammad added. If they confirm readiness and do not need the international coalition, a security breach may occur and they may be blamed for confirming readiness. However, if the military leaders say the opposite, that they need the international coalition, T. Hay may be exposed to other accusations. Therefore, there is a need to strengthen trust between the government, political forces, and military leaders in order to reach a decision that they will be held accountable for before the Iraqi people and history. Listen to the full version on the official dinarreport.com website and become our supporter on Patreon. Source: Dinar Recaps.